Let's talk about closing costs. So buyers have their closing costs and sellers have theirs. They're two very different things. So closing costs for a buyer is typically going to be consisted of your closing costs and your prepaids. Your prepaids are what's going to fund your escrow account should you have a loan on the property. Typically, if you're paying cash, you don't have to worry about that part. That's going to be consisting of a few months worth of insurance, a few months worth of taxes, because the lender wants to make sure that those things are being paid. So they basically make you set up a savings account for those items. Now, your closing costs, though, as a buyer, might consist of your appraisal fee, all of the fees that the bank is charging you, your title exam, all of that kind of stuff. That's not including your inspections typically. So keep that in mind. Those are going to be separate additional payment that you might be making in the home buying process. Now, if you want to know how much those are, the best way to find out is ask your lender. Ask them to give you an estimated amount to bring to closing, an estimated amount for your closing costs. They'll be able to tell you usually within about $1,000, maybe $500 of where you're going to be. Now, on the seller's side, their closing costs consist of typically the transfer tax, which is $1 for every 1,000 that the house sells for, the deed prep, which is about $100 to $150, and then the commission for the agents. So that's the bulk of their closing costs. Now, in some markets, in some places, sometimes you might actually see a buyer that'll ask the seller to pay for their closing costs. And you just got to figure out, if that works into your bottom dollar as a seller, and is that something you're willing to pay as a buyer. So closing costs, make sure you ask your lender what they are. Don't be surprised when you get to the closing table for how much you're going to have to bring to closing.